I'm going to have you guys go ahead and mute your mics, and I'm going to get started right away.
Okay, go put the basketball.
Okay, all right. Here we go. Okay, so tonight I want to talk to everybody about practical business strategies. It is really difficult in this business to not do the simple things. So I know this is even true for me, that I find that, sorry, I still have food in my teeth from dinner. I find that when my day is open-ended, I get less done. When I have more time on my schedule, I accomplish less. And so I'm highly scheduled. I have my entire calendar set up with reminders to let me know to move from one task to another. It's really important to me to have that set and scheduled and a reminder, because I will get lost. I will get lost hanging out with my kids. I will get lost talking on the phone. I will get lost playing on Facebook. And I really don't want to waste my day. So I found that I have created a calendar in my phone where each one of those items on my calendar has a reminder that's set for at least 5 minutes before I need to do it. So I'm real quick going to go through what my daily schedule is like. This is not going to be effective for everybody, but I get asked all the time, number one, what do you do in a day? Number two, gosh, I wish I could be a fly on the wall during the day when you're working. How do you accomplish everything? I hear that stuff all the time. So it's really important to me to share my schedule with you all so you have an idea of what I actually try to accomplish in the day. So I get up at 5 a.m. I do my personal development and drink my coffee from 5 to 5:45. 5:45 I eat breakfast. And then I go and get my kids up. And at 6 o'clock, the kids and I sit down to do Bible study, and we do that till 7 o'clock. So for an hour, we do Bible study. Usually Wes doesn't wake up till 7, so that leaves me that whole uninterrupted hour with the older kids, because to us, that's the most important part of our homeschooling curriculum. So we try to put that first and put it at a time where Weston isn't going to interrupt that. So at 7 o'clock, I work out. At 7 o'clock, my kids actually take responsibility for Weston. They get themselves and him breakfast while I'm working out and showering. And then all depending upon how that time frame goes, whether Wes is having a good day or a bad day, I either get my shower in before 8 a.m. or I don't usually shower till 8. And then I try to sit down as soon as I've showered and write out my to-do list for the day. I have 2 separate to-do lists. I have one personal and one business. And I take that time to come upstairs and get away from everybody else, shut the door, and write out my to-do list, what I want to accomplish in the house that day and what I want to accomplish in my business that day. At 8 a.m., my kids start their chores. So they start their house chores at 8 a.m. At 9 a.m., I join them. Sometimes it's earlier. Sometimes it's not till 9. But 9 a.m., I join them. Housework, time with kids, lunch. I do all of that up until noon. So I have all of those hours to maintain my house, to take care of the kids. Some days are better than others. Noon, Weston goes down for a nap, and I go to work. And I typically try to work from 12 to 4. Right now that works really well for us because my kids don't have wrestling practice till 4:30. So it works out really well for me to put in 4 hours during that time. I usually quit at 4, and then I take my kids to practice. I'm usually home between 4:30 and 4:45. Then I cook dinner, and then my family comes home. We eat dinner, and then it's family time. At 8 p.m., my kids go to bed. My older kids have to go to their room. They have lights out at 9, and I have lights out at 10. So I go to bed at 10, get up at 5. So that just gives you a quick peek into my schedule for the day. But if you notice, I put things on my schedule like breakfast and time with my kids and lunch and travel time, and all of those things are so important because we can easily waste time, especially in today's society with the amount of technology that we have. It's really important for us to make sure that we're not missing out on the important things. And if you notice, the most important things to me go in my schedule first. I don't get up and go straight to work. I don't get up and do my personal development and then go straight to work. I don't get up and ignore my kids. I get up and I take care of my needs and my kids' needs simultaneously, but I don't put myself on the back burner. And I think that that is really, really important for us women to understand. It's not nearly as challenging for men to put themselves first where they need to, but it is really challenging for women. And I want to encourage you, when you sit down to write your schedule, and I'm not just talking about setting business hours, I'm talking about writing your whole schedule for the day. Sit down and write out your entire schedule for the day. And make it a priority to schedule out all of your hours. It's really, really important to do that so that you know how you're going to spend that time. And then you know whether or not you accomplished in that day what you wanted to accomplish. Now, do I have wasted days? Yes, I do. Do I have wasted hours? Yes, I do. Is my schedule completely derailed at times because I have sick kids or whiny kids or needy situations? Absolutely. But the truth is, this is what I aim for every day. It's not perfect, and that's okay. But this is the standard that I've set for myself that I would like to accomplish in a day. So I encourage everybody to take 10 to 15 minutes after this call tonight and write down your schedule, completely scheduled out for the day. Now, that is practical for me. It's not practical for everyone. So you have to measure what your needs and your desires are against your schedule. I actually work well in the afternoon. That's when my brain is finally turned on. That's when everybody takes a deep breath in the house. Taylor and Caleb are doing school during that time. Weston is down for a nap. It's peaceful and I can focus. Before Weston was born, it used to be that my prime hours for production happened to be in the evening. It's not that way because my house doesn't operate that way. There are people that have to function first thing in the morning. That's just the way they are, and that is okay. You have to decide what schedule fits your lifestyle best. Some people have 1 hour when they get up in the morning, 1 hour at lunch, and 1 hour at bedtime to work, and that's okay. So I'm going to talk about that as well. But the most important thing that you need to do, besides setting a reasonable schedule for yourself, is setting a reasonable to-do list. Your to-do list cannot tackle Mount Everest in one day. It's just not reasonable. Nobody can do it. Don't put yourself through that, and don't beat yourself up when you don't accomplish something. I use 2 forms to help me be successful in my business to-do list every day. I have my daily power hour that I have designed, and there's a copy of this in our coach group in the file section, so you're welcome to it. It lists out what I need to do for me personally in my business, for my clients, and for my coaches. And then all this stuff down here is the extra stuff. This is creating groups. This is, what did I have on there today? Oh, of course, create the team training, start working on my goals, content for my newsletter, create a what is coaching invite event page. So all of those things come at the end. Notice they're at the bottom of the page because they're not as important as these items. These items are what are going to drive your business forward. So these are the things that you have to do first. Don't do all of this stuff before you do this stuff. It's not effective. It's not going to drive your business forward. In fact, it's going to start driving your business backwards. So when I sit down to write my to-do list, this is where I write it. I write it on the bottom. What projects, tasks do I need to complete today in my business to continue to move in the direction I want my business to move in? And I also write out the names of people that I would like to follow up with. The other thing that I do is if I didn't complete something on this to-do list on the bottom of the page, it gets carried over to the next day. So it's really important for you to know that there are times where I'll have a task on my to-do list for a month, and it just keeps getting carried over to the next day and the next day and the next day because I just didn't get it done. There were other things that came up, and it's not a higher priority. So I need you to realize that you have to understand what can you reasonably accomplish in a day. If you really only have 3 hours to work your business and they're spread out all over the day, can you honestly create a website today? No, but you could spend 15 minutes on working on one. See, now that's reasonable. Could you, I don't know, could you sign 4 new coaches today? No. But you could talk to 4 new potential coaches today in your invite process. So you have to realize that you have to be reasonable. So the other thing that I want to show you is that I actually use the schedule, the planner from the Misfit Republic website. And I write out my calendar the night before. I know what I'm going to be doing the night before. So when I finish my business hours, I've already written out my schedule for the next day for business. And that gives me a reminder when I'm looking down at my to-do list, when I'm looking at my schedule for the day, whether or not I'm on track. So I have multiple strategies to help me stay focused. I need them. Not everybody does. Sometimes the reminder in the phone is enough. It's not for me. I need to have visual reminders everywhere I look. I even have them throughout my house. Little things that remind me that I made a commitment. And so as you can see, I don't have everything for tomorrow filled out, but I do have my calendar already written out. It's very important for me to do that so that I know before I go move on mentally what I'm going to accomplish the next day. So those are the 2 strategies that I use for writing a to-do list in my business. And I want you guys to find strategies that work for you. If you want to use what I use, you are welcome to do exactly what I do. If it doesn't work for you, throw it out and try something else. Create your own. I did. Every upline coach that I have has shared with me a power hour checklist. I didn't like the BAT. I didn't like the basic power hour to-do list. It wasn't specific enough. I took elements of each of those to-do lists and I just created one that worked for me. that was right for me. So if what I have isn't right for you, create your own. Don't hesitate to get creative and take care of the things that are going to make you more successful. Just make sure that you put that at the end of your to-do list for the day and not at the beginning. Make sure you get your invites out first. You need to set reasonable business hours. The thing is that I talk to new coaches all the time who are like, oh my gosh, yeah, I could totally put in like 8 hours a day. Well, okay, so you're home. You could put in 8 hours a day, but is that reasonable for you? Is that actually reasonable for you? Do you have other things like little kids at home where you have a toddler running around? Your toddler is not going to give you 8 free hours to work. That's just not reasonable. But you might get 4. 1 before they get up, 2 while they're napping, 1 after they go to bed. You can do a lot in that amount of time. You really, really can. It's amazing what you can do in 4 hours if you're focused, if you're diligent, if you take those hours and you utilize them wisely. So set reasonable business hours. If you only have an hour, you need to use an hour. If all you have in a day is 1 hour, then you need to sit down and make that hour a priority by simply just sitting down and deciding what you're going to do first. You need to break your power hour out into chunks that go together. So you're not, if your hours are spread out, if you have 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at lunchtime, 1 hour at nighttime, you are not going to do invites throughout the day. Please don't do that to yourself. You'll go mad. Do them first. In that first hour, do your invites and respond to as many messages and emails as you can in that first hour. Do that first. And then in your second hour, take the time to maybe create your groups and your content. You know you have content that needs to come out because you only have those 3 hours, so you're going to take that second hour, you're going to create some content, you're going to schedule it on your like page so that you build your affinity and traffic. So now you're taking care of the invites, you're taking care of the people who are already following you. Your third hour, if you only have 3 hours, these are the 3 most important things you should do. Do your invites first. Take care of your content and your current clients second. And then spend that last hour on training and mastering a new skill so that you can be successful in this business. Do not allow yourself to get stuck. That training is so important, even if you're just listening to a past misfit team call. It doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're always working towards learning. If you are not applying and trying to learn something new at least 5 days a week, you're cutting yourself short. You are jeopardizing your investment in this business if you are not working at least 5 days a week and spending at least 15 minutes of those 5 days learning something new, hearing about a new strategy, applying a new strategy, whatever it takes, or just motivation from another top coach. Whatever it takes, apply those strategies. Do your training. It's so important. Setting reasonable business hours is also really important for people who are home all the time. You heard me say that it's really easy for me to get lost, and that's why I have a lot of strategies in place to help me get back on track and stick to a schedule. Because I am home all day. It would be easy to let my kids not do school and just play and hang out and have a lazy day whenever we feel like it. That does them a disservice and it does me a disservice. And it's very important to make sure that just because we get the privilege of being home and the freedom of being home, that we don't take advantage of it and waste any days that are given to us. So it's important to set reasonable business hours for everyone. Now, some families, mom or dad works nights. That is more reasonable probably to set your business hours during the time when your spouse is at work so that you can have family time or quiet time when your spouse is home sleeping. You just have to figure out which one works best for you. Okay, so number 1 was write a reasonable to-do list. Number 2 was set reasonable business hours. Number 3, do your invites and relationship building at least 4 days a week and do them first. Now, you heard me say at least 4 days a week. And you're probably thinking that you hear all the time about the importance of being consistent and doing it every single day. So I'm going to talk to you about another reality of this business. If you do that every single day, you will see massive growth in your business. And if you do that every single day, kudos to you. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't. I reach for inviting 5 days a week. If I hit 4 of those 5 days, I have accomplished what I set out to do. I have so many microfacets with my business and the things that I am implementing, aside from the fact that I'm a homeschool mom, aside from the fact that I am a community member and have all these other things to do. It's really easy not to do your invites because you get caught up in creating content and sharing your work out and, checking in with your coaches once you have a team, doing your training and your personal development, constantly checking your online office, constantly checking Facebook, checking into the coach groups and getting lost there. I mean, there are so many things, guys, that you can do to keep you from doing your invites. But I have learned that the only thing that truly hinders this business is not inviting at least 4 days a week. So it's very important that you do your invites at least 4 days a week and that you do them first. Do that first. Make that the number 1 priority. Bite the bullet and just get it done. It's not always the easiest thing to do. Sometimes it can feel like you're reaching out to a complete stranger or it feels icky or whatever, but you have to change your thought process because you are presenting them with a gift. Whether they choose to take that gift and open it, it's up to them. You're not shoving it down their throat. You're just inviting and sharing. That's it. They can say no thank you, and you can say, great, and go on and talk about something else. Do your invites first is so important. Number 4, now you can do everything else if you have time. Now you can do everything else if you have time. We didn't talk about the actual do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. All I told you was you have to have reasonable business hours. You have to have a reasonable schedule. You have to have a reasonable to-do list, and you have to do your invites first. If you're going to be successful in this business and see regular growth, I mean, let's be honest, this business has its ups and its downs. You're going to drive forward and then you're going to fall back some. It is the reality of network marketing, period. But if you want to see continued growth over time, those invites have to come first. You have to have a to-do list. You have to have a reasonable business hours. You have to have a decent schedule. If you don't have those 4 things, you don't have a business growing forward. Everything else is the fluff. It's the extra. Now, this is probably the most stern thing that I'm going to say, and I want you to hear me. Don't worry about the strategies other people are using as much as taking the time to evaluate if the consistency and way you are doing things is working for you. So often, including myself, We get caught up in the strategies and the ideas that other coaches are sharing, and they're having great success with it. So we have just implemented a new process, and we're only a week in, but this one is shiny and new. So we drop that one and we chase the other one. If you keep doing that, you are going to see nobody follow you. The truth is that people need routine and steady hands. They need you to be the steady in their life. If you are constantly ditching one way for another way, they're going to be confused. You need to pick a strategy, work at it, master it, and then move on. Now, that's not to say if you've been working at a strategy for 4 months and you're not seeing any improvement, any traction at all, that you shouldn't ditch it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, don't be jumping on every shiny new bandwagon. Try a strategy that you think will work best for you and apply that one until you master it, because you will see success. It's just right around the corner. It takes time. It takes consistency of doing the same thing over and over again to make sure that people are hearing you, they're seeing you, they're getting it. So self-evaluate. Evaluate whether or not the consistency of the way that you're doing things is what's working for you, not the strategy. Are you being consistent in the way that you're doing things? If not, then you need to get consistent before you scrap that strategy, period. So I'm going to give you real quick the last little tidbit of information that I wanted to save for the end, is to kind of tell you how I spend my business hours. So many people ask me this so often. I have my phone on me all the time. I am always near a computer because I'm home. And so it often looks like I'm on all the time, and I try not to be, because I do want to devote those hours to my kids. I do only want to put in those 4 hours right now while I am helping my kids be educated. And so it's really important to me to let you know that this is actually a new strategy for me, because the truth is that my invites have taken a back seat lately. In fact, for the last month they have, because I have been trying to take care of a million different new things in my life. After coming home from my grandmother's funeral, I was scrambling to get back on track and find my groove in my business again. And it's taken its toll on the way that I handle my business. And so I have to make some changes, and this is how I'm going to do it. The first hour of my business is absolutely going to be devoted to invites and returning messages. This is where I'm going to take care of my clients. This is the hour that I am devoting in my business to just taking care of my clients. So if you happen to see that I'm on Facebook and you message me and I'm posting and I'm doing all this other stuff and I'm not getting back to you, don't take offense to that. I need to commit to taking care of my clients and taking care of my business and making sure that that's a solid foundation first. The second hour of my business is where I will check in with my coaches. In this time frame, I'm going to be responding to any coach messages. I'm going to be checking into the coach groups. I'm going to be sharing content and assisting you all in whatever it is that you need assistance with and support in. So that's where I'm going to block out a chunk of time where I can check in with my coaches and devote to that. The third hour, I am going to work on current or new projects. I'm going to devote an hour during that time frame to working on my projects. So I've taken care of my clients, I've taken care of my coaches, now I'm going to work on my content. Now is when I'm going to take care of the time to making sure my website is looking clean and new content that I want to create, working on my newsletter, working on my blog, creating any videos. That's where that chunk of time is going to come in. And then the 4th hour is going to be devoted to training for me. I am going to take that time and I am going to unplug from everyone and everything. And I'm going to put that time into growing my own skill set so that I can be a better leader for you all and for my clients. So that just kind of gives you a heads up as to what my intentions are, and also puts it out there to hold me accountable. So if you happen to see me, if you know I work from 12 to 4 and I said that my 1st hour was going to be devoted to clients, and I respond to your message, don't respond to me. Just hold me accountable to doing what I said I was going to do, because I will get caught up in the conversation and I will lose track of time, and I want to make sure that I am committing to this schedule. It's very important to me. So those are some practical strategies that I have for you, some reasonable ways of handling scheduling and fitting things in your day. If anybody would like to do a power coaching call with me about scheduling and how to apply some of these practical business strategies in their specific and unique situation, message me or comment below when I upload this team training in the group. Comment below the link so that we can schedule a power coaching call so I can help you kind of master some of that, and we can bounce some ideas off of each other. So I'm going to unmute it, and if anybody has any questions or concerns, anything like that, just please throw them out. We only have about 7 minutes left of this video chat. So if you do have questions or comments, go ahead and throw it out. Otherwise, if you don't, we'll go ahead and shut down early, and I will get this stuff uploaded, and we can just go from there.
I did want to say one thing, Steph.
Go for it.
I'm so thankful that you said that we can do our own scheduling, because I always thought that we had to stay strict with the power hour, and I just don't. I love writing stuff down and checking it off, and so I think I want to try and do my own thing, you know, and because it'll work for me, because the power hour thing, you know, I don't know. I kind of want to see if my own format will work because of what I like to do. I mean, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And that's what I encourage you to do, Lori. I encourage everybody to mess with it, tweak it a little bit. Because you're going to find that the first thing you try, there may only be one element that you want to keep that you love. You may have to go back to the drawing board 10 times before you find a strategy and a way of doing things that works exactly for you. I've been at this for a year and a half now, and I just now am starting to feel like I'm finding my groove in my schedule and my strategies.
That's what I want. I want to find my groove.
That's right, girl.
Oh, thank you so much for listening earlier, sweetie. I do feel better.
Oh, you're so welcome, love.